What if Spider-Man and Wolverine stayed in Europe to protect Charlemagne's sister Alex, joined Nebo in terminating terrorist groups as life's mission after the events of Spider-Man vs. Wolverine issue 1? What if Spider-Man is a killer? In Spider-Man vs. Wolverine issue 1, Peter Parker followed Wolverine to Russia, who was on the trail of a friend working for the KGB. Realizing that the KGB would eventually kill his friend, Wolverine wanted to put her out of her misery. Peter tried to stop him, but accidentally killed the friend instead. Haunted by his actions, Peter fled home into the waiting arms of Mary Jane. But what if Peter never went home? What if the spider never came out of the cold? Following alternative events after critically acclaimed events of Spider-Man vs. Wolverine issue 1. They call him Nebo, the Rook. He trains assassins. He trains killers. Nebo doesn't speak, but in this universe, Nick Fury explains it all. Nick Fury says he's a teacher, aren't you, Nebo? I believe you train the operative known as Alex. Buddy, I'm Nick Fury. I already know you make killers. You probably wouldn't care if they all ended up in the CIA like Alex, but they don't. Some work for the KGB, like her older sister, the one they call Charlie, short for Charlemagne. But I guess she got tired of her old bosses because she started killing them. Half the Russians in Europe were on her case, and it got really bloody when her old boyfriend showed up. That's Wolverine. Call me jaded, but I think sleeping with clawed mutants is hedging your bets in the Black Ops world, a world Wolverine has lots of experience with. But you know who did it? Spider-Man. Sure, he's put in plenty of time fighting super freaks, but never dealing with people like you. Still, since some of the dead were from his stomping grounds, he got sucked into it too. Wolverine wanted him to go home, but Spider-Man wouldn't listen. Charlie took advantage of that kid and tricked him, getting the quick death the Russians wouldn't have given her. Spider-Man wasn't a killer, and from all reports, he was pretty messed up over it. But the KGB was satisfied with the result, so the wet works ended. This is a synopsis of one of the best comics, Spider-Man vs. Wolverine, Volume 1, Issue 1, from the year 1997. Nick Fury continues, but I think something else died that night. It's been a year since the Daily Bugle could smear Spider-Man on the front page, and now we've got Russian spooks dropping dead again, with claw marks and webs all over their bodies. Nebo adds, this is from KGB files. They showed it around the offices. It's how they ousted Alex. She was deep cover, but even a professional will flinch at seeing her sister's corpse. Nick Fury says, let me guess, you showed the photo to Wolverine when he went back to Charlie's chateau. You weren't ready to lose another star pupil. Nebo replies, very true. I thought Logan would appreciate the chance to save someone so dear to Charlemagne. Nick Fury continues, I get that. What I don't get is why our bug stopped being so friendly and never went back to his neighborhood. Nebo responds, yes, he wasn't so tainted that such scars wouldn't heal once back in the States among his loved ones. But what if Spider-Man, Peter Parker, didn't make his plane? This is the point of divergence, the moment where things differ from Earth 616. What if, instead of leaving, Wolverine had said, hey kid, wait. Wolverine had been telling Peter all along to go home, warning him that he was in over his head, probably 1,000 times. Peter Parker finally says, you're right, I'm going home. But then Logan shows him a picture of the sister, giving Peter a chance at redemption. Peter saw it as an opportunity to recover from what had happened, to save her, and decided to go deep into the Ural mountains. Peter knew it would take more than just Wolverine. Instead of going home, he calls up Mary Jane and stays. Although Peter had never been properly trained, we all know that Spider-Man's abilities could even the odds considerably. Wolverine and Spider-Man are dropped off by a helicopter and immediately find themselves being shot at. They know they're already in danger as machine guns are firing everywhere. This is the spider who went into the cold. Nebo, who is the pilot of the helicopter, shoots down the shoulders to clear a front line. He also says, give me a clear signal when I need to come in for the exit. As Spider-Man still has a conscience, he thinks that clearing them out, all right, I suppose knockout gas would have been inhumane, huh? Wolverine says, trust me, there wasn't a Mother Teresa in the bunch. As the KGB says they've set mutants after her, and another KGB agent responds, it's something Moscow has prepared for. We have freaks of our own. Spider-Man still has a conscience and is not using his full power. He's not trying to kill the KGB agents while Wolverine is slashing through many KGB agents agents as he can. Wolverine is bothered that Spider-Man is slower by not killing the agents. Spider-Man and Wolverine are greeted by a mutant called Bora. Her name is Anzela Fedorova. Her powers are cold wind manipulation. Bora is able to control the cold winds. Aerial flight. She can also fly by lifting herself into the air with the winds. Bora says, "Goodbye, Americans." Wolverine says, figures that the Russian mutants would be crappy knockoffs of ours, just as he pummeled to the ground by the Crimson Dynamo. Spider-Man then leaps towards the Crimson Dynamo, aiming to break his armor, but injures himself in the process as the Crimson Dynamo simply backhands him away. As the grimacing Crimson Dynamo throws Spider-Man aside, guns and machine guns rattle as the KGB agents fire at him. Bullets fly towards Spider-Man, but before they can hit, Crimson Dynamo catches him with a powerful blow to the back. Meanwhile, Wolverine cuts through the KGB agents, making his way toward the Crimson Dynamo. The relentless pounding of the Crimson Dynamo continues as Spider-Man's overwhelmed groans make it stop. Meanwhile, Wolverine manages to cut the power supply of the Crimson Dynamo, halting the assault. Wolverine had cut off the suit's power, leaving the Crimson Dynamo without his super strength and protection. Seizing the moment and unaware, Spider-Man soared in and struck the Crimson Dynamo's head so hard that with his armor shut down, his neck snapped. Unbeknownst to Spider-Man, another life was taken. This time, the Crimson Dynamo was dead. Bora is super mad that they killed the Dynamo, and Spider-Man webs her up. Then, from behind, from the tree, Wolverine puts his claws through her stomach, killing her. Spider-Man exclaims, "Does everyone have to die?" As Bora hits the ground, Wolverine responds, "Eventually, yeah, but Charlie's sister doesn't have to." Spider-Man then says, "Let's get her." Spider-Man busts through the door to save Alex. As Spider-Man saves Alex, Wolverine blows up the power plant, and Nebo has a clear signal to pick up Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Alex. Nick Fury says, "So you all went back to the dead sister's house to eat s'mores. Not bad. Why didn't Webhead go home then?" Nebo replies, "Well, I'm no psychologist, but I believe Peter thought if he could keep Alex alive, it would justify all the killing." Nick Fury then says, "And you thought you just gained a perfect operative?" Nebo responds, "The thought crossed my mind." Nebo then continues, "I began to train the Spider. Even then, he was very talented, but without focus. Peter needed a teacher to hone his skills, particularly this warning sense of his that expanded." Nebo says, "At first it was triggered whenever I attacked him, but soon, with my guidance, I could no longer even think of doing so. As months passed, he would know even before I did, and always Peter and Alex were together. He had a girlfriend back home, but she was only a frail one, and Alex is Alex." Alex bore a resemblance to someone from Peter Parker's past, Gwen Stacy, who had died in a tragic encounter with the Green Goblin. This connection strengthened their bond, and together, Nebo, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Alex formed a team to carry out Black Ops missions. As Black Widow was sent to confront the new Spider-Man, Nebo remarked Peter would choose carefully, still holding on to his sense of morality. "That must have been what attracted you." He continued, "I'm sure you remember your visit, Black Widow, but Peter knew you were coming. His senses, they're still evolving. Sometimes now, he just knows things." Spider-Man was no longer holding back. He had changed. It was as if a seasoned warrior was fighting against a mere child. Nick Fury asked, "What's Logan been doing all this time? How did we get here so close to a new Cold War?" Nebo replies, "The Russians wanted Alex back more out of a wounded pride than anything else. Specifically, a splinter group called the Black Steeps was particularly adamant. Peter, of course, wouldn't give up his relationship with Alex, and Logan thought the whole situation was amusing." Alex and Peter asked Wolverine if he needed help, but this newly unleashed Spider-Man had multiplied his spider senses to the point where he could almost predict the future. Alex remarked, "Oh, you're bad," to which Peter Parker replied, "Me bad? Never, but maybe not quite as nice anymore." Black Widow says, "We've tracked funds sent back to his aunt in Queens." Nick Fury responds, "But you've all made a lot more than that. Where's it all going?" Nebo replies, "Charities mostly, some to help mutants. Logan knew those three didn't need or want big money, especially Peter. He wanted to help a sickness, I suppose. Nick Fury then asks, what about all this? None of this paid. Nebo answers, doing good is payment enough for Peter. Nebo then recounts the long list of assassinations, killings, and espionage carried out by the four agents. He mentions the Chinese expansionists. That was Logan and Peter, and the incident with Ural that involved all of us. Nebo continues, the 9 Dragon Scales operation, that was Alex alone. Sergei Ivangelevich, the KGB Black Steepy's deepest agent. You know him as Arnold Wallace. I'm not sure which of them ended that particular spy's career. They don't tell me everything. Nick Fury says that still doesn't explain how we got back to the brink of a damn Cold War. What escalated it? Nebo replies, the old communist guard, the Black Steepies. They kept coming, and Peter was tired of it. Peter adds, we can just play defense if I'm going to protect you. Alex responds, protect me? It's not like I'm fragile. I can take care of myself. Peter continues, so could your sister, and I failed her. Alex says, you helped her. She would have died far worse without you. Peter then declares, we need to track down all your records, anyone who knows you, the KGB, the Black Steepies, everyone. Nebo says Peter had changed. He was now better suited for this world. I think Logan enjoyed watching him take the lead. We did what we could. Nick Fury says, great job, Nebo, an American superhero, former CIA agent, and you helped them blow up half of Russia. You wound the doomsday clock back to the brink again. Nebo replies, which is very good for our business. No, Black Widow furious says, it's bad for the world. Nebo responds, not my world. Just as Black Widow shoots a blast into his leg, she glares at him and says, seems like you forgot my bite from when I brought you in this morning, like a child. Nick Fury says, you should be glad Widow got to you. Your mission today at the Stipe's base near Zaragoza, our intel says half the old Soviet Union and even some of the expansion are set to ambush. Someone tipped off the Ruskies and they aren't playing anymore. At the ambush, Alex says, not much here. Wolverine responds, where the hell is Nebo? He's supposed to be here. Spider-Man adds, he'll show up later. Something's fishy. Wolverine says, smells kind of metal around here, oilish. Spider-Man replies, yeah. Say guys, get on the floor for a second, would ya? Wolverine responds, you getting one of those feelings? Bullets come shooting out of everywhere as the 3 agents take over. Wolverine has figured out it was an ambush and they were expecting them. Spider-Man grabs the metal door and rips it out to give Wolverine and Alex cover. Wolverine says, how did they get the drop on us? Spider-Man replies, I don't know. I just feel a little off maybe. Just then Spider-Man takes a door and knocks down 2 of the KGB agents. Spider-Man webs up some agents while Wolverine slices through others and Alex just keeps firing. Wolverine wants to know if there's anything more coming and Spider-Man replies, just keep hitting people, Logan. Then a new villain called the Swordsman arrives. The Swordsman says, you're mine, as he takes out his swords. Spider-Man sends spiderwebs in his direction, but the Swordman just laughs, cutting through them. Spider-Man says, you're right, as a bullet shoots out from his web shooter, hitting the Swordsman right in the head. This marks the birth of Assassin Spider-Man. This Spider-Man kills and uses ammunition, and he's also nicknamed Spider-Shot. This Spider-Man is from Earth 8351. Spider-Man senses more KGB agents approaching as additional forces surround them. Snipers are positioned in the trees, and the 3 agents find themselves completely surrounded. Wolverine says they're coming in from all sides. We're surrounded in the valley. Spider-Man replies, just stay alive for 1 more minute. Wolverine questions, for what? You calling the Avengers? Because the X-Men aren't coming to save me anymore. Spider-Man says, not the Avengers, but something like that. Suddenly out of the skies, a S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier appears as a voice announces, this is S.H.I.E.L.D. Drop your weapons now. Alex asks, I don't see how this is much better. Spider-Man replies, let's see how it plays out. Wolverine then says, they've got Nebo. A KGB agent interrupts, this does not concern S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury steps in saying, it's happening on this planet, so it does. The KGB agent says, we've created this. We've only wanted her back for state security. Nick Fury responds, yeah. Before we go any further, let me introduce my friend Nebo here, or as you know him better, the Rook. The KGB agent, shocked, exclaims, the Rook is alive? That's what he looks like? Nebo screams, yells, "No!" Black Widow responds, "Our purpose is to smooth this incident over to prevent the rise of a new Cold War." Nick Fury adds, "A much bigger win for you. I believe my condition is that the other three walk away. Nebo, the Rook, pleads, Peter, you can't let them do this." Spider-Man says, "You'll forget about her." The KGB agent responds, "Her? Who? We're not interested." Wolverine chimes in, "You set this all up, didn't you, Peter?" The Rook then says, "Peter, I just wanted to tell you this. You're truly my greatest student." Wolverine turns to Fury and says, "You're going to try to take us in?" Nick Fury replies, "I've had enough of the three of you. Beat it, but I expect some consideration if I'm ever stupid enough to hire you again." Alex hands him a card saying, "Here's our rates. We're quite expensive." Then Peter Parker gives Fury an envelope addressed to MJ, Mary Jane, and says, "Widow, could you do me a favor and get this delivered? Don't use regular mail. It's not safe to write down an address anymore." As Fury walks away, he mutters, "Your rates are expensive, but it isn't my money. Everyone wanted my head for letting them go, but all the leaders were glad to have Dante again." S.H.I.E.L.D. had captured Nebo, the Rook, earlier, but Peter Parker, now the assassin Spider-Man, had orchestrated the entire operation to secure Alex's freedom. What became of the three spies, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Alex? They went off to dismantle the Black Ops world, aiming to make it a much safer place. Could they have made a bigger impact as superheroes? Who knows? As for that note Spider-Man wanted delivered to Mary Jane Watson, it was a final goodbye to his past. This isn't the Spider-Man from Earth 616. This is Assassin Spider-Man, who operates in the Black Ops world alongside Wolverine and Alex, and for the right price, they'll take on a job. Next, what if House of M, Volume 1, Issue 1? What if Scarlet Witch ended the House of M by saying, "No more power"?